Joan.
And I'm Ellen.
And we're Two Gals in Kentucky. How are you today, Ellen?
I'm doing okay, actually. We've had 3 days of great sunshine, which makes it really wonderful. And it's the usual everyday challenges that we all kind of work with. And, you know, I was going to say getting up every morning, finding the coffee pot. I will tell you, last night, I had bought a whole big thing of coffee, and I was really excited because there's one I like, and I don't make the fancy kind. It's just the normal drip. And I opened it up, and it was beans.
Oh.
Whole beans. And I thought, no, it's not going to get me today. Not going to get me tonight. And so I put it in my blender, and it was perfect.
Oh, wow.
So I only got just what I wanted. Anyway, those are the challenges, I guess, that we all kind of deal with. And of course, the global challenges that we're dealing with, like COVID and grandkids babysitting and all of those things that have to try and keep us in some sort of a routine. And I don't do very well at it, but maybe you do a little bit better.
I am a stickler for routine. Routine is what keeps me grounded. It keeps me stable. It keeps me focused. I wake up every morning and I make my oatmeal and I use the exact same ingredients every single day. It's 1 ounce of Premier Protein and it's 1 tablespoon of brown sugar and and from that point on, everything in my day is routine and it's like Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day over and over
and
over again. And I like the idea of Groundhog Day. I think that's a really good idea. I find that I like to be creative within that Groundhog Day. But in order to stay within those things, I find that if I turn my timer on and I say, I'm going to do this for 10 minutes and it goes beep, I go this in 10 minutes and it goes beep, then I get a lot of things done. And then I leave room in there like 20 minutes to do whatever I want and I don't feel guilty about it. So staying focused is an important part of feeling good at the end of the day. So, Joan, I think we wanted to talk to everybody today about beauty because there's a lot of stuff in the world right now that's not so beautiful. Yes. And I think sometimes it's hard to focus on something that might restore our inner soul. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I remembered was a carousel. We talked about it. This one actually plays Christmas music, which doesn't make it, but it does move around. Let's see. We hope it moves around. Here we go. There we go. And I talked to Joan about this, and I said, I bet you were goal-driven. I bet what you did was when you got on that carousel that you reached for that ring so that you can get a free ride.
And that is exactly wrong, believe it or not. I was not the girl reaching for the ring. I was entranced with the beauty of the carousel, with the lights and the painting and the music.
And the mirrors.
And the mirrors. When I was on the carousel, I would be so mesmerized that all of my senses were being activated, my sense of touch and my sense of hearing and my eyes. It was I can still close my eyes and I can be on the carousel again.
Yeah, that organ music that they played, like that hurdy-gurdy music that they played. One of the things that that's a beautiful image because I can even think of all the colors and everything. And I remember some of the carousels, not this particular one, but some of the carousels would have like images of Cupid on it carved in, and other ones would have like these Punch and Judy clown faces on them. And those were all colorful. As someone said to me over the weekend, you mean you're talking about the Crayola colors? And yeah, they were the Crayola colors. Yeah. They weren't all the mix. They were the really bright ones that appealed to kids. For me, I love something that's very beautiful is the interplay when you have color and the color changes when the light hits it a different way. We're in the fall right now, and it's fascinating to watch how one particular scene, the colors change on those leaves depending on how the sun is positioned. There was a quote that Milne wrote in Winnie the Pooh, and it said, "Sometimes the smallest things take up the most space in your heart." And a carousel, that's pretty small. So, Joan, we talked also about different forms of beauty, different kinds of beauty. What are some of the ones that you kind of remember?
I remember certain musics. I remember, well, of course.
What about laughter?
You
like
cannot,
little kids laugh.
Yes, you cannot talk about beauty without talking about the laughter of your grandchildren.
Absolutely.
When they just belly laugh at something.
Yeah, I know, it's so amazing.
Yes, and touch, the hugs and kisses.
Or touching a little 3-month-old, I have a 4-month-old granddaughter, and just holding her hand, or when my 4-year-old grandson just puts his hand in mine, it's beautiful. And I remembered when my own kids were little, I remember just being entranced by the size of their feet.
Yes.
Their feet. I mean, it's just like, first of all, they're not walking, so they don't stink like a 5-year-old's, which is good. And you could kiss them and you could hold them. And that memory is held. I don't need those footprints. I don't need it in my head. Those are very, 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 very beautiful memories.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, I can go back in time. And I think that one of the biggest things in my life, one of the biggest memories that I take a lot of comfort and joy in are the memories of church. I was raised in an Italian family, and we were Roman Catholic, and the church that we went to was the most beautiful, the most ornate. It was Sacred Heart Church in Yonkers.
Oh, okay.
It was the most beautiful, most ornate church. And, well, we're not youngsters. Back when we were children, many, many moons ago, the Mass was still being said and sung in Latin. And people didn't go to church in their jeans and their sweatpants.
It was the whole picture.
Everybody was in their Sunday best. Everybody was in their Sunday best. And and the smell of the incense, as you would sit there in church, you would look around, and once again, you would just bask in the sounds and the smells.
And the sun coming in through the stained glass.
Yeah.
Because that's, people look at rainbows and, prisms and stuff.
Yes.
But the look of stained glass in any church is like magic.
It absolutely is.
Magic.
And those are the things that bring me comfort, and those are the memories that I can still close my eyes.
Like yesterday. You're a spring chicken, right?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Spring chicken. Okay.
Yeah, it's like yesterday.
Like yesterday.
Let's say yesterday. Okay. How about you?
Well, one of the things that I have to say is I think it's really important. I think there's all different kinds of beauty. I think there's beauty obviously in the sights and the smells and of a church, or the color and light, and those are really ones. Music, art, I mean, those are nature. I also think it's really important that we look good. I think it's really important that we look good. I think at different decades in your life, beauty has a very different meaning. I think as a teenager, what was beauty? What was your image of beauty as a teenager? What did you think? What did you need to be? You needed to be thin.
Well, you definitely needed to be thin, which I was not.
No, me neither. Oh,
yes.
God, that was horrible.
Well, and it was very important to be popular when you were a teenager, which I was not.
No, I was not either. I went the other side, so that I just was very artistic and so avant-garde, so I didn't have to be popular because I couldn't. I was too fat. But I will say that beauty is something, they say beauty is skin deep, and beauty is sure as heck skin deep. But people don't see what's below your skin when you're walking to the supermarket. So if you're at the supermarket and you're wearing your UGG slippers because they have soles on them, you're wearing an old pair of sweatpants, you have a hat on because you haven't combed your hair, We all have a free pass for no hair color during COVID.
Yes.
Free pass.
Agreed.
Everybody's got a free pass.
Yes.
Yeah? But if you're not dressed with some deliberateness in terms of thinking how people are going to look at you, because the first image that people have of you is what you look like. So when you're in your 50s and when in your 60s, Simone de Beauvoir said it perfectly. She said, to lose confidence in one's body is to lose confidence in oneself. So you got to look kind of within the bell curve of the right weight. In my mind, this is my opinion.
Yes.
You got to kind of make sure that you don't have holes in your pants because they're worn or they're too big for you and they're falling down. 50 and 60-year-old women, in my opinion, do not look good with their pants and the grunge level. There is that bell curve. There is the side of it that you are in your Uggs or other less brand name slipper and your sweatpants and no bra, or the other side when you're deliberate and can only wear certain brands. Somewhere in that middle is important.
I agree.
But it's also not only the physical. So I know that too. I'm not that shallow, even though I am a clothing designer. So I do have that shallowness inside me. It's not only the physical, and I know that, but that has to play a role in beauty because you also have to feel good about yourself. And very few people walking around in those Uggs and dirty sweatpants and not having showered for 3 or 4 days is not going to feel good about themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
But again, it's more than that. It does go skin deep too, hand in hand.
Well, I agree. I think you have to feel good about yourself. And when you dress and you're going out, however you're presenting yourself, how you present yourself externally directly relates and mirrors to how you feel about yourself
100%,
internally.
100%.
And I also find that beauty is also a gift that you give to others.
Absolutely.
When I go out and I am dressed however I'm dressed, but it's always appropriately, every time I walk out my door, I feel good about how I look. When I feel good about how I look, I instinctively share that to others.
Yeah.
I instinctively will smile and say hi to total strangers as I pass them. And I feel like when we do that, when we smile and we say hi to people and extend just graciousness to total strangers, hopefully you're helping their day too.
Yeah, making someone's day a little bit better and surprising somebody. You know, Joan, this COVID stuff I keep using it because the whole world has changed in terms of our interactions. You know, there's less physical, actual 3D reaction. We're on a 2D computer or we're behind a mask and something. Yeah. And one of the kindest things I found is, you get that recording when you make a phone call. And you get the recording and then someone comes on and they're in their house and they're probably in their bedroom slippers and talking to you on the phone and they don't know the answer. Or they don't have a satisfactory answer. The nicest thing you can say, figure you're going to call somebody back and yell at them later, but the nicest thing you can say is, thank you so much. You've done the very best you can today. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll I'll absorb what you said and I'll make the next move after that. But that makes their day better. And if you feel good about yourself, you can do that. So,
I agree.
Yeah, it's true. And Joan has some very vivid memories. She talked to me, one of the other beautiful things, we talked about grandchildren and we talked about, art and those things and sounds and quiet and everything. But Joan has a memory of Christmas with a very large family that's sights and sounds. There's no quiet in it though.
No quiet.
But there's smells, there's sights, there's sounds, and it would be really nice to hear that story again.
Oh, yes. Yes. As I said, I'm from a large Italian family, and my grandmother was one of 8, and my grandfather was one of 9, a very large family. And every Christmas, every holiday really, but every Christmas, my grandmother and grandfather's tiny little house would be full to the brim with aunts and uncles and cousins. And you really didn't have to clean the whole house.
I love that part. When she said this to me the first time, I thought when we'd have relatives come over, we'd open the closets and stuff them, and hopefully no one would put their coat away. But she was just talking about 2 rooms, so I think her closets were clean.
We didn't have to worry about what was in our closets or any other room, because really nobody ever left the kitchen where the ladies were, or the dining room where the men were. And then of course at mealtime everybody was crowded around, well, the biggest table we could manage at the time, crowded. And the smells of the foods and the smells of my aunt's perfume and the boisterous men disagreeing and arguing about all the things that men
and
argue
the silverware
disagree.
and the silverware.
The silverware. It's just a memory that just stays with you. It imprints itself on your heart and it stays with you for life. Once again, it's one of those things that you can just close your eyes and you're back at that dining room table, listening to the men argue and smelling the food, and beautiful memory, beautiful memory.
Yeah, and I think that everybody has memories like that. It might not be Joan's memory because that's Joan's memory, but sometimes I think, they call it deja vu, when all of a sudden a smell brings back a whole flood of something. We talked, I had an experience the other day. I was going for a medical appointment and I was nervous because for some reason, my daughter calls it white coat syndrome. When the doctor would come in, my blood pressure would go up. I don't know what I was worried about. I mean, I have all medical people in my family, which I am not, but I would worry every time. My blood pressure was crazy. And my husband would say, no, that's not possible. I can do it now. It's not possible. So I thought, well, before the appointment, I was going to do yoga. And then I was going to do meditation. I was going to stress myself out doing as much as I can to calm down, to make sure I didn't drink too much caffeine, all of these things. So I did the meditation. And then I closed the door for my dog. And I laid my mat down, and I lay down on it, and I started doing the stretches. And I thought, oh gosh, this isn't working. It's not working. It's not working. And then I lay down in what they call a shavasana position, which is when you're laying flat on your back. And somehow I hit the best part of the morning because the sun was like flooding the room. And it was like, I could feel it. It was like coming up through like giving me strength. It was just coming up through everything. And I realized that there was nothing. There was no color. It was just that incredible basking in a light. And as an artist, the light, like I said earlier, is very important. But it reminded me of a piece of music, which I'm hoping we can hear. There's a theme, and it's not the whole music, and it's from Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto, and it's just a theme that felt very much like that sunshine. And so the basking in that light was amazing. And just being in New York City, we used to go to the beach all the time. Do you remember that, laying on the beach? Did you ever do that?
Beach, yes. And
What was it, Joan's Beach? Or was it Joan's Beach?
Both.
It was your beach.
It was both, because we spent a lot of time there.
An interesting little play around. I didn't think of that until just now. But
the ocean,
the smell.
Because here in Kentucky we're landlocked.
We are totally landlocked.
Can't go to the ocean, and well, we can go to the ocean, but it's quite a ride.
Quite a ride, and by the time you get there, you really don't want to sit.
You're really not even into it anymore.
So well, the sun has a friend of mine I spoke with this morning, one of the Journey girls. I spoke with her this morning, and she referred me to a reader. I told her that story, and she referred me to a Reader's Digest article she had just read that said that the healing powers of the sun are stronger, are more important for your blood pressure, than the risk of getting melanoma. Now, this is a Reader's Digest article. Okay. I don't know any scientific base, but I know spiritually the sun and that that light
Yeah.
will just, the memory of that, I can call that up. I can call it back when I was, let's see, 27 years old, cross-country skiing in Idaho. And just the sun on the snow was amazing. And in France, when I open our windows after the shutters, I open the shutters and the sun just pours in. You know, those are all memories too. So very, very happy memories of beauty that in these times,
we rely a lot on those memories.
We do.
In
We do,
these
Joan.
times. We rely a lot.
and call them up.
And we do. We call them up as we need them because you have to have positivity in your life and you have to call on these beautiful memories in times when maybe there are not as many beautiful memories being made.
And bad things being said and everything. And, you know, if I think, I can even, right now while we're even doing this video, I could think about my granddaughter and just her hand and what it feels like. And it's just wonderful. And Joan, I'm sure you have, you know, talking about going to church.
Yeah. Talking about Mass and talking about the big family dinners. And I have to say that especially the memories of the family holidays and dinners, there were so many of them. And to be able to call back those memories and close my eyes and be back at that table for just a few minutes, it almost brings tears to my eyes because nowadays we are not in a place where...
No.
You know, if you have family out of state like I do, I have my daughter and my grandsons and my sister and my nieces and nephews, and I haven't seen them in nearly a year because of COVID.
Exactly.
So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for those beautiful memories of Mass.
And they're not over yet. They're memories, but you're going to make a lot more of them.
Yes.
And I think that when we talk about, you know, there's visual memories and that you can create those every single day.
Yes.
There's the ones that you hear, like the sound of a Mass, or a really beautiful piece of music like that Rachmaninoff that you heard earlier. Those are the kind of things that you can call back, and even a smell of something. And Joan was talking about the perfume.
Yes.
So, or helping somebody without them knowing it.
Yes.
Like Joan said too. And Joan does that all the time. That is her paying it forward. That is her means to live in life. And Joan found a very good quote. And we'll end on this one. It may simply come down to this, Joan.
Yes.
What is it?
When I lay my head on the pillow at night, I can say I was a decent person today, and that's when I feel beautiful. And that was Drew Barrymore.
Yes. And now, ladies and gentlemen, or ladies and ladies, and from Two Gals in Kentucky, see y'all next time.
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain.